Hey, welcome back. Today we're going to dig into a really profound connection, the link between unity in our faith and how that gives us strength when we're facing life's absolute biggest challenges. Okay, so let's just dive right in, starting with a pretty powerful warning about what happens when that unity gets broken.
So this quote, it comes straight from Jesus. You can find it in the book of Mark, chapter 3, verse 25. It's such a simple, timeless idea, isn't it? A family, a team, a community, you name it. If it's just riddled with internal conflict, it simply can't last. This isn't just some casual observation, you know? It's a foundational truth that really sets the stage for everything else we're about to cover.
All right, so if division is so destructive, we've got to ask the question, is it just an accident? Does it just happen? Well, the source material we're looking at today argues no way. In fact, it frames division as a very deliberate strategy, a tactic that's actively used by opposing forces.
And here's the strategy laid out plain and simple. Divide and conquer. I mean, it's a classic for a reason, right? The entire goal is to turn people against each other, to create all these factions and all this infighting. And why? Well, because a group that's busy fighting itself is a group that absolutely cannot stand against an outside threat. The message here is crystal clear. Disunity is deadly. Okay, so we've laid out the problem pretty clearly, but how do you build a defense against that? This next part is where we pivot from the problem of division right into the solution, which is framed here as a kind of set of keys for building a fearless and resilient unity. And here they are, our unity, our mission, and our message. Now, the source presents these not as three separate ideas, but as three pillars that are completely dependent on each other. You literally can't have one without the other two. They all work together to form a single, incredibly strong foundation. So let's break that down for a second. The mission, which you can see in Revelation 14, is to proclaim the gospel. The message, something Jesus himself prayed for in John 17, is the truth that we find in God's word. So the crucial point here is that these aren't just vague ideas, they're biblically defined. You can't have real lasting unity without a shared message and a common mission. The whole thing stands or falls together.
And this is the payoff. I love this. This quote from Philippians chapter 1 brilliantly connects that three-part foundation, unity, mission, and message, to the final outcome being completely unafraid in the face of your adversaries. When those three keys are locked in place, fear just loses its grip.
This really just puts it all in stark contrast, doesn't it? On one side, you have disunity. And where does that lead? To fear and ultimately to a victory for the opposition. But on the other side, you have this powerful, mission-driven unity, which leads to fearlessness and, as the source puts it, a defeated foe. The choice between those two paths really couldn't be any clearer. Now let's shift gears a bit. We've talked a lot about external opposition, but what about the internal, universal challenge of suffering? Because, let's be real, life for every single one of us is difficult and totally unpredictable. The story of Job is just the perfect example of this. I mean, the Bible goes out of its way, in Job chapter 1, to describe him as this genuinely good person, blameless and upright. And yet, he faced the most unimaginable, devastating calamity. This story tells us right away that suffering isn't some kind of punishment that's only for the wicked. It's just a part of the human condition.
You know, this quote from our source material is so powerful. A precipice. Wow. It just perfectly captures that feeling of fragility, right? That sense that at any given moment, everything could change in a heartbeat. It's a reality we all live with, whether we like to think about it or not.
So, if suffering is unavoidable, does that mean it's just meaningless? This is where the whole perspective shifts in a really dramatic way. The idea that's introduced here is that while we can't always avoid the pain, we can transform its meaning by connecting it to a higher purpose. And just take a look at this. It's a theme you see all across the New Testament. In Matthew, in Acts, Romans, 2 Timothy, it's everywhere. Suffering isn't presented as some weird anomaly for believers. It's actually shown as an expected, even necessary part of the journey. The message is pretty direct. If you want to live a godly life, you're going to face persecution and hardship. And this really brings us to the core takeaway. Since suffering is just a part of life, the real question isn't if we're going to suffer, but why. This quote completely reframes suffering, not as some random, meaningless tragedy, but as a potentially powerful act when it's endured for a cause that's so much bigger than yourself. Which leaves us with this final, profound question. If unity gives us fearlessness against opposition, and if suffering can actually have a higher purpose, then what is the ultimate source of our hope and our comfort through it all? It's a really good question, and one that's worth thinking about. Thanks for joining us.